Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring to you a video on the new best Black Diablos Bow Driftsmelt build for Season 3. So this video analyzes the Driftsmelt build for the strongest raw weapon in the game, the Black Diablos Bow / Coil Bender. Season 3 released the Rajang Coil that provides focus level 3 at grade 8. But the thing is, the coil itself does not have a Driftsmelt slot. And this is a good thing because here's a big disclaimer. Driftsmelting is extremely expensive and time consuming. You do not need Driftsmelting skills to get far into the 8-star monster endgame. So this is just something extra, it's bonus content, alright? You don't need it to take out all 8-star monsters in a game. It's just something here for fun. Or if you really want to, for people like me, you're gonna gamble hundreds of Driftsmelts to get something you want just because it feels good or you really want something that's really good. First, we're gonna start off with how the Rajang Coil changed the Black Diablos Driftsmelt builds. So the Rajang Coil gives focus level 3 at grade 8, and this allows you to get to focus 5 with just 2 pieces of armor. However, it's important to note that the Rajang Coil itself doesn't have a Driftsmelt slot. So as you see here, the monkey ape thingy doesn't have a Driftsmelt slot, which is really good, and this is likely to balance out having one of the best meta skills in the game at level 3. If this did have a slot, it would be incredibly powerful. Even more so, although I would have given it a slot at like grade 10 or something like that. But not having a slot is really good because you only need 4 stones like I mentioned before. So it's less expensive, and if you really want to min-max stuff, you definitely want the Rajang Coil at grade 8. And this brings us to the best Black Diablos Bow Driftsmelt build for Season 3. So this build requires 4 times Driftsmelts. You need 3 bursts from Amber Driftstones, and 1 weakness exploit from Pale Driftstones. This build gives you Focus 5, Burst 5, Crit Eye 4, and Wex 1, or Weakness Exploit 1. And this build is the highest out of every possible combination with a practical theoretical damage value of 5,028. Not only is that a really high number, but this build cancels out the negative affinity to 0% from the Black Diablos Bow, and you will get a 20% affinity bonus for hitting weak spots. So at critical eye level 4, you get an increase of affinity by 30. So 30 plus negative 30, that's 0. So that's great, you won't have to worry about hitting purple. But if you do hit weak spots, you will get that 20% because of weakness exploit level 1. And an extra bonus is that this build only requires 4 Driftstones versus the usual 5 or more Driftstone builds. So 1 less is even better because you possibly might roll for 100 and more for that 5th one. But if you're just starting to make your Black Diablos Bow Driftsmelt build, you're just in time. To use this build, you need the Black Diablos Bow at grade 8, grade 10 or as high as you have it, Azarathalos Helmet at grade 8, the Odo Mail at grade 8, the Rothian Vambraces at grade 8, your Rajang Coil at grade 8, and the Kuluyaku Greaves at grade 8. In addition, again, you need 3 Burst Driftstones and 1 Weakness Exploit Driftstone. Next up, we have the Season 3 Best Driftsmelt build versus the top 5. So here we compare the best build with the top 5 other builds. Per the data, this build does the highest practical theoretical damage. If you try to auto-populate this, you won't find this. Why? Because you have to input data manually. And usually what happens, and it's weird between critical eye and weakness exploit, is that you have to modify a few things. So you have to do it manually, again, instead of auto-populating it. So you have to put in some work, but I put in a lot of work I just enjoy doing it. It's fun to see what the heck's the best and what might be the best. Because I did it for Pokemon Go for years. I broke an entire meta with it. I was the only person to do it in Season 1. And it was absolutely amazing. So because of that success, I turned into this. But yeah, if you want to be like that, well, guess what? You have to crunch numbers. So. But the thing is, it's really not that bad. The difference between this build and the bottom is only 1.67%, which is 84 points to be exact. It's really not a lot, so if you want to use any of the other combinations in the top 5 to save resources, it's totally fine. Or say you like Critical Eye 5 for a consistent 10% instead of the 20% hitting weak spots, that's totally fine as well. Your average isn't going to change. Personally, having used the weakness exploits to cancel out, it does make a difference. But again, that's totally up to you. And speaking of differences, we have the Season 3 versus Season 2 Black Diablos Bow Driftsmelt builds. So here we compare the Season 3 Black Diablos Best Driftsmelt build to the Season 2 one. And the difference in damage is literally only 2.41%, which is 121 points of damage to be exact. This is because the Season 3 build has only one more level of critical eye. The thing about it is that you get one less Driftsmelt skill because the Rajang Coil does not have a Driftsmelt slot. So you're literally only adding one more level of critical eye. Is it worth it to really experiment and put that out there? Well, it's up to you if it's just in terms of Black Diablos Bow. For this data, if you want to still use the Season 2 Driftsmelt build, it'll work just fine outside of some specific scenarios where that extra damage might come in handy. For example, when I take out 8-star Legiana and I'm doing all my perfect dodges and whatnot, I can take out 8-star Legiana in 18 seconds if that crit procs and break both wings. Before, I couldn't do this unless I got really lucky with that extra percentage that I get from the affinity. So again, it's very specific. Or you might notice things that I don't know. And speaking of things we don't know, well, let's take a look at the Season 3 Black Diablos Bow Driftsmelt build versus the Non-Driftsmelt build. And here we compare the Black Diablos Driftsmelt build to the Non-Driftsmelt builds. So if you don't want to Driftsmelt, you just want to go for the best non-Driftsmelted Black Diablos Bow build for Season 3. The difference between the best Driftsmelt build and the top two builds are a little over 19%. Or 810 points and 808 theoretical practical damage points to be exact. The thing is, that's a big difference. But again, you don't need this to get far into the endgame. You can actually take out many of the 8-star, or if not the entire 8-star squad with Black Diablos without Driftsmelt builds, because that's how good it is. Another worthy mention is that it will only take 4 Driftsmelt skills instead of 5 or more to make the Season 3 Driftsmelt build. A cheaper build is always nice. Everyone's like, why do you keep repeating that? Well, if you didn't do or haven't done hundreds of Driftsmelt builds and haven't gone unlucky, like some people, you are very happy that you only have to do 4 instead of 5, or if you're a bubbly dance connoisseur, 6 or more. So, anything that requires you to have 1 less Driftsmelt skill or more is really, really good.
What just happened? What's going on here?
Duelists from around the world. What you just witnessed is but a taste of the technology possible with my new Duel Disc.
Ah yes, the technology you need in order to attain absolute power. Where Driftsmelt builds, it just takes a whole lot of chance, and if you're spending on the game like me, it takes a whole lot of credit cards. Like Seto Kaiba, who has a way giant credit card than I ever will have. Anyways, hopefully this video helps you decide what Black Diablos Bow Driftsmelt build you want to use. This technology is very powerful, there is a meager difference, but if you really want to go for it, it is very powerful and it will serve you well. Remember, Driftsmelting can take a while, so be patient and don't let the fear of missing out or the FOMO get to you. I have seen hundreds of people in the comments and in my Discord tell me like, yo, I have terrible Driftsmelt luck. Me, I have great Driftsmelt luck, but not good R6 luck, so rarity 6s aren't my thing as far as my luck goes. So unless you're really lucky like me, remember, it can take hundreds, so be patient, don't let the FOMO get to you. Please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Good luck on your grinds, good luck on your Driftsmelts. May you get them soon and get them really, really early so you don't have to worry about rolling and getting that skill and have it take hundreds. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.